Dr. Kemi for Kemi Talks Media. It's Sunday, the 29th of June, 2025. Let's talk about President Trump and the deal made with Congo and Rwanda. Everybody saw a female reporter talking to President Trump right there on the White House desk. I think that was Paula White behind her. But Vice President J.D. Vance was standing behind the president, as well as our senior special advisor, Massad Boulos, on the left side. There were a lot of officials in there. Aside from the fact that President Trump joked about how beautiful she was, the fact is what she said in that White House Oval Office is history forever. In 100 years, none of us are going to be here. Not even that reporter, not even President Trump. But children in Congo and children in America will be able to remember what that reporter said. Every U.S. president has forgotten about Africa until President Trump got there. You heard what she said. President Biden hung up the phones on them. Rwanda, Congo, and all that. We all remember when President Clinton was president and Rwanda versus Congo, Burundi was going on, and there was a huge genocide. That was the early part of my career as a journalist, okay? I started journalism in 1994. But around that time, when that whole war happened in Rwanda, I covered a lot of it. And the Clinton administration apologized after all the people had died that they weren't focused enough. The Clinton administration was more focused on, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and Kosovo. There was war going on in one section of Europe with genocide, and then the African ones. Some African leaders said America really doesn't care. That's why they will rather go with the white countries than the black countries. All kinds of speculations came up at that time. I remember very well. Now, I am Nigerian, okay? Nigerian, American, whatever you want to call me. But for the Nigerian kids born in 2000, they call them Gen Z. Anyone born between the middle of the 90s and 2000 to 2010 don't know history because they took history out of the Nigerian schools. And that's horrible. It's back now, but all those kids missed a lot. And that's because the Nigerian government went in to hide a lot of history. History is not just Nigerian history. It's also world history, African history. And this is one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of the African Union. Yeah, AU. If you're watching my video, I'm not a fan of the AU. I'm not even a fan of ECOWAS either. All these regional groups need to go. If you want to unite Africa and do better things, imagine almost 44 presidents ignored Rwanda, Congo, and all these conflicts down there. Those areas have a lot of minerals. They have a lot of mineral potential. And instead of making all this big money, feeding the people, having all kinds of programs, health and all, what we're seeing is missionaries coming from America and other countries to help the people. And armies and all kinds of United Nations convoys and stuff, bringing food and saving people from getting killed. But it was President Trump that made the peace deal. After what, 30 years? That thing has been going for 30 or 35 years. So that should show you that this is a president that's working. President Trump, thank you very much for your good works. I want you guys to pay attention to what that reporter was saying, okay? Every single U.S. president did not answer those guys. And we know that we have one on record. When President Clinton apologized after the Rwanda, look at the people that died in Rwanda. Let's just face it, I'm lost of words, I don't know. I'm just shocked, okay? And I'm just coming out now on Sunday because, I've been busy with my dad's funeral and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, President Trump was the one that organized the peace deal. Both countries came to Washington. They signed the peace deal and it's gone. Okay, no more war. Everybody's at peace. Now, let me talk about other wars, okay? You notice how President Trump stopped that Iran and Israel war and the media tried to discredit him. Some of the liberal media in America, New York Times, CNN, he calls them fake news media. He actually singled out Natasha Bertrand of CNN. And she made a lot of news in Nigeria because all the Nigerian channels kept mentioning her name and all. But at the end of the day, people, wake up. Okay, that Iran-Israel one could have gotten worse. America went in there with Spirit stealth bombers and cleared the nuclear sites, damaged everything up and ended it. because Iran knew they were doing something wrong, okay? At the end of the day, Israel dropped a load of bombs the very next day after there was a ceasefire. And President Trump said he was not happy at Israel either. Okay? You heard him when he said, what the fuck is he doing? That's Netanyahu. And you know, Bibi is doing his own thing with the war with Palestine. Those are long wars. But October 7, 2023, when Hamas just started again, it's like we're returning fire. Wars are not good. Conflict is not good. Okay, I covered Baghdad in 2003, and I'm never going to cover conflict again. I don't cover conflict. Plus, I have PTSD. So all this trauma and all this PTSD, I don't want to put more on my load. Now, India and Pakistan. Somewhere in between Israel and Palestine, India and Pakistan started their own little war there. And it wasn't little. It could have escalated big. And it was President Trump that also diffused that war. So who is the leader of the world, really? It's President Trump. President Donald J. Trump has done so much to bring peace to the world. No doubt he has to get that Nobel Peace Prize. How many people have nominated him now? 2 world leaders. So he brought peace to many countries because all these wars and stuff, it takes lives. Lives, livelihoods, and everything. So I want to thank the U.S. President, President Trump, for the Congo-Rwandan deal. That's what I have to say. And don't let's forget our special advisor, okay? Our U.S. special advisor for Africa, Massad Boulos, who's also Nigerian. He's Lebanese, Nigerian, American. I want to commend Massad Boulos. If you have been really following my tweets and my posts, you'd have noticed that I tweet a lot of things. Dr. K. Olunloyo on X, and I also moved some posts to Instagram. You'll notice that a lot of my tweets, okay, focusing on Africa, has to do with Massad Boulos, because Boulos travels the whole continent. I mean, he has been traveling every continent, even those countries that have travel bans. He's trying to make things up so that we can have countries that don't have conflict, okay? Like I covered Massad Boulos' visit to El-Sisi in Egypt, President El-Sisi in Egypt. You can see that one on the pinned tweet. Regional conflicts over there. Okay, Boulos has been to Togo. Togo has a partial ban, but he has been to Togo. He's kind of like diffusing a lot of conflicts on behalf of President Trump because that's President Trump's stance on making America great again and making the world safe again. Boulos has been to Libya. He has been to Congo. He's traveling around the continent. You guys need to know what's going on, okay? You can't sit out here and think like they're not doing anything. And, you know, right now we got Kenya and we also have Togo, where youth were fighting all last week. On the 25th, lots of youth were killed in Kenya, many injured, 500 and something injured, about 20 killed, police brutality. And the police came out and even killed more people. There's just so much going on. So people like me who are political activists, regional activists, they're even attacking us. You guys saw what happened in Tanzania. So that's another one there. When Bonnie Wangi and Agatha, you know, Agatha is like the State Department Women of, you know, Courage. She got that award last year. Look what they did to Agatha. They raped her. They threw feces on her. And they dehumanized her and left her at the border. That's their own form of deportation. So the U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam sent out a statement on this, and it's wrong. So all these regional ones still have to be taken care of. But meanwhile, thank you, President Trump. Intervene in wherever you need to intervene, especially Nigeria. There are killings everywhere in Nigeria by Al-Qaeda-style militias. We don't know who they really are, but the regional conflict going on around the Sahel is getting into Nigeria. And some Nigerians are like, oh, you don't like AFRICOM, you don't like General Langley. No, it's not about who you don't like. Until it hits your house or your home and you lose a loved one in these kind of things, then it hits. Okay, we need this protection. We really do. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And finally, Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio has done a fantastic job traveling around the world and representing the United States and fostering this peace on behalf of President Trump. Marco Rubio is a really great State Department secretary. Work has been done in this administration, and nobody should even counter this. I mean, the receipts are there. Shout out to the U.S. government.